Yeah, it just feels like the whole thing's yeah, sort of streaming through treacle. Right. Although the visual lag isn't there, which is good. Or it's much more minor. So I'm just I'll copy the link into the thing. But yeah, I mean, if it is the Surface Pros, there's a danger that everyone's is going to be really bad. Right. Right, I'm putting the link in now. That's there. Yeah, everything's just got that half second of kind of. Okay, that's much better. That's loads better. I would say that's workable. Yeah, it looks perfect. Well, I've learned the lesson now. Can you just put the sound back on your computer for 1 minute for me? Just want to time. So the delay is about 4 seconds. That's absolutely fine. Right, cool. Cheers. Send the link out. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, awesome. I called you at 7 o'clock on the dot. You're sending it out at 7:15 on the dot. We are clockwork. Dangerous. Now, one slight problem we had last week is that there were teams in the quiz who were not on the leaderboard. So that might just be worth checking while we've got a little bit of time. Did he message as well? Yeah, I got that. I was on the Thomas when he called. Right. Good evening, everybody. I can see that people are starting to arrive on the stream now. The viewership figures are creeping up. Thanks for joining us again for what is somehow remarkably week 6 of the NSB quiz. As always, if you can just pop your team name into the group. There you go. As always, John Marshall leading the way, setting the example for everyone else to follow. His team name are there. Quizlamic State are in. Luckily for everybody else, he's going to have to bow out early for a prior engagement. So even when he's streets ahead by the time of round 4, you'll probably get a reprieve as he leaves. But thank you, John. Thanks for sticking your team name in. Thompson Tartans, good evening. Thanks for joining. Hello, Alice. Pear Tree joining us as well. Will this be their week? They've been in and around for a while. I'm sure that Graham and Pete and Alice and Ange will be keen to capitalise this time. Laggers Legends, their second time, I believe, joined us last week for the first time. Did really well in their maiden voyage. Thanks for joining us so promptly, and nice to see you've got your tech sorted out as well. There, Paul as well. Thank you, Callum, for running tech support. I'll be sure not to mention it. because no one cares. Honestly, if I did a football stats round, I think Lagers would clean up, wouldn't he? That is a real specialist subject. The Premier League since inception. There's a little touch of football in tonight's quiz, not very much, but there's a little smidgen of football in there. For my round-balled friends. Just to let you know, Farid, that I think the team name is the Peckleys, Laura Checkley's team. They're not going to be able to play tonight. There you go. There's the stat in the chat. There's no hiding from it. 59 years ago today, Spurs completed the double. Hi, Craig. Thanks, mate. Craig, you're with I Ain't Getting On No Plane, aren't you? You're with Jamie and Gary. Is that right? Thank you. Good stuff. And as you're not the birthday boy this week, Craig, I'll be leaving you well alone. I feel you had, I'm not going to say too much last week. I think it was a pretty perfect amount, but you've had your fill. You've had your fill. Hello, Justine. Quiz read. There's going to be a fire in the belly for you guys this evening, I'm sure, to reclaim your crown. Is that depleted numbers? Just Helen, Justine, and Mr. Davies? Hiya, Pam. Thanks for joining. Pam, just remind me of your team name. Craig, you really shouldn't be drinking in the week, mate, but thanks for letting us know. It's a terrible habit. Hello, Ross. Almost missed you there, but no, managed to get you. Russ, you are Monkman and Seagull, if I remember correctly. This is my quiz. You guys have all of the questions I've put forward, and all I have to do is remember all of your team names. Trickier than it looks. Abby and Sarah otherwise engaged. How exciting! How mysterious! How enigmatic! Abby can't be busy. Pointless is finished. Winners, you're a long way past redemption now, mate. You are, but a good brand recognition is important. So thanks for joining us. Yeah, so just keep those team names coming so we can start ticking people off the register. Great to have so many returning teams and new teams. It's fantastic to see. I feel we've got some real loyalty now into week 6. Justine, for me, this is meeting with my friends online. And it kind of generally fits the paradigm of my normal conversations with my friends as well. I sit and spout fun and interesting facts and don't really listen to anybody else and basically can't even really hear them. The only person I can hear and bother listening to is Farid. And he's just whispering things into my ear to make sure everything goes smoothly. It's like being at the pub, only slightly cheaper. I know what you're thinking. 6 weeks in and your patter hasn't got any better. Yeah, I know. It's tough. I spend all my time trying to make the questions good, and I forget that I probably have to spend most of the quiz just talking, and I still haven't figured that bit out. Hello, Vari. The NQs, the reigning champions, as if I need to tell anybody. The newly quarantined teachers are in the house. If there was a physical trophy, they'd be wheeling it in now, looking smug, maybe looking a bit nervous, target on the back. Everyone wants to take down the champs. The Wilborns are in. Good stuff. Hi, Jackie. We're looking, as always, to start at past, so we've still got 6 or 7 minutes. Yeah, as always, we'll try and start as promptly as possible. Whilst we're here, I suppose I can start giving a little bit of intelligence, a little bit of information for you. There are 4 rounds tonight, as always. 4 rounds of 15 questions. Round 4, which by now has become customary, will be a fiendish connections round. Round 3 will be your kind of little break. That's going to be a music intro. We've got another YouTube video lined up for you with a selection of music intros. And round 1 is going to be a bit of geography, bit of history, bit of culture with a twist, with a theme, which I think you'll enjoy. And round 2, I've tried something a little bit different. And it's a history round of sorts, let's say that. It's not a history round. And there's a little bit more maybe deduction and guesswork than a typical history round, but I'm hoping that you'll enjoy that one as well. I'm pretty sure, I think I can say with some confidence, that there is absolutely no opera whatsoever this evening, which will disappoint Russ Parker and please everybody else. The fielders are in. Hi, Victoria. Hello, Emily. Let's get quizzical. Lovely to have you with us. And yeah, Tom, I've had my suspicions about Pam for a while now. A truly monstrous ego. Some say that on occasion, it even manages to eclipse that of Dave Hodgson in the science team base. Now, I'm not sure I believe that. But the rumor mill turns on these things. How are we looking, Farad, in terms of arrivals? Oh, yeah. Our Eld Huberdold present. You're usually very punctual. John Elder's one of the first usually to let me know he's here. The Latvians are now in. Hello, Ali. Tequila Mockingbirds, the Topping Shore Experience, yet to arrive. Shirley's Lady Providers, we usually expect them a little bit on the, let's say, on the punctual side. Financial Chances, the Hassans, Blues and Reds, who I think are a new team, possibly. Returning team. It's very quiet in here, so Steph and Social Distancing aren't here yet. Oh, she's here now, just in time to hear me slag her off. Classic. Oh, brilliant! That's happened in a flurry. That's a flurry of activity. L2 Wodold are in. The Tequila Mockingbird are in. Social Distancing are in. Latvians are in. Bloody hell. So still a few. We got a few minutes left, so we're gonna, before I start really calling people out, we'll give people the grace of half past. But thank you for those of you that are here, as always. And I make these recommendations every week. I'm sure you listen as much now as you did in week 1. But it would be very advantageous to the expeditious running of the quiz if you could open up your round 1 answer sheets now, and if you could also maybe get a pen and paper. I always think it just reduces the number of repeats if you can make a quick note. And of course, very, very importantly, make sure you've got a nice full glass of whatever takes your fancy, and maybe some snacks. It's been Ramadan for me for the last few quizzes. I haven't been eating, but this week I have. I'm partaking of what I would consider to be the prince of snacks. A lovely bag of Haribo Gold Bears. They're amazing. The slight concern I've got is they're a little bit kind of chewy, and I don't really want people, particularly if they're playing with headphones, to have to listen to me slapping my lips as I plough my way through these delightful treats. But it's my quiz, so what are you going to do about it? They're really good. I really like them. Hello, Julia. Hello, Louise. Financial chances have snuck in as well while I was waxing lyrical about the Gold Bears. Excellent. And yeah. Extra team. Fantastic. Hello, Hannah. Didn't have you down on the list, but we got a bit of space. We'll let you in. You can come in. Thin and generous. So, just to give you the statistics so far, this is week 6, and so far the quiz has seen 3 winning teams. The first week was won by Welch's Disassembled, I think the team name was, which was Gemma Welch and family, who have not returned since. It was a one and done sort of situation. They won, they left, never to be seen again. I think that's a pretty impressive way to do it. We then had 3 weeks of dominance from Quiz Read, perhaps starting to seem utterly unassailable, until last week, the young guns of the newly quarantined teachers managed to, I was going to say sneak a win, but actually a convincing 4 or 5 point lead and a couple of perfect rounds. So the reigning champions are the newly quarantined teachers. The team with the greatest pedigree, the Roger Federers of the quiz, are Quiz Read. And I guess the Welches Disassembled are sort of like Fred Perry. They won it ages ago, but most people haven't really heard of them and never really seen them play, which I suppose means that the newly quarantined teachers are Djokovic, kind of winning at the moment, but no one can really remember whether they're world number 1, 2, or 3. No one really likes them. Everyone always really wants Federer to win, even if he's no, I'm joking, of course. You are all Serena Williams in my eyes. Hi, Shirley. The Lady Providers are in as well, which means we are waiting on Hassan's and Dr. Farkas. Okay, we'll give the benefit of the doubt. We'll give another 2 minutes for teams that aren't yet here, and then we're going to make a start on round 1. If you've just joined and you didn't hear the spiel beforehand, get your round 1 answer sheets open. They are in the email, they are in the chat. Get those open, get those to hand. And always, as always, I again will recommend pen and paper. I just think it speeds the whole process up a little bit and just makes your life that little bit easier if you miss a question. And particularly with something like the connections round, can be super helpful. So we'll give it 1 more minute and then we're going to make a start on round 1. If anyone hasn't played before or hasn't played in a while or has generally forgotten how we do things here, 4 rounds, 15 questions. I'll read them once. I'll read them a second time, and at any point after the first reading, you are welcome to submit them. Once they're submitted, Farid, the man behind the scenes making the whole show run smoothly, he'll start marking them, give you a few minutes. I'll go through the answers, scores on the doors, and we'll move swiftly on to the next round. Other than round 3, which is going to be a music round where you're going to have 10 minutes or so to listen to a number of music intros, there won't be a formal break. So if you submit your answers early, take that as your opportunity to go and have a quick breather, because we aren't going to have a formal interval. It's a one-man play and it's a one-act play as well. Although some of you who've been playing for long enough might say that it's a tragedy in 3 acts, but I would hope that you wouldn't take such a negative view of the quiz. So get yourselves ready. Get your answer sheets for round 1 open, because we're going to make a start in, I've arbitrarily decided, 30 seconds. I want to start in 30 seconds time. And anyone who's not here, they've only got themselves to blame. It's their own time they're wasting, etc., etc. Thank you, though. If you've only just joined, I won't have had time to say this, but thank you so much for joining us for what is remarkably now week 6 of the NSB COVID quiz. We said when we started, we had no idea how long we'd be going, how many weeks we'd be doing it, and we kind of said in the first instance we'd go until interest dried up. And as things currently stand, interest is not drying up. We've got teams coming back. Yeah, we've got 88 players across 20 odd teams again this week. A little bit down on last week, but still, it's incredible. It's so lovely that so many of you are willing to give up your time on a Wednesday evening to play along with us. And at the risk of sounding a little bit conceited and out of character as that would be, I've had a number of people tell me that the Wednesday quiz is the highlight of their week. Now, that would mean slightly more if it wasn't competing with the Antiques Roadshow and a walk to the corner shop, but I'll take what I can get, and it's great that people are still enjoying what we're doing here. So I'm going to stop the rubbish because we've got a quiz to do. So get your round 1 answer sheets open. Farid, maybe just one more time for those late joiners, if you could stick that round 1 answer sheet in the chat, just so it's really, really readily available. If you have got it open, good for you. Round 1, 15 questions on Europe. Now, that could be anything from geography to history to culture to language to food. It's a pretty broad category, but all of the answers and all of the questions are related to Europe. So, without further ado, because I'm really, really good at unnecessary further ado, we're going to make a start on the week 6 quiz with question 1, round 1, Europe. Here it comes. Switzerland has 4 official languages: German, French, Italian, and which other? Question number 2. Flowing through a number of cities, including Turin, what is the longest river in Italy? Question number 3. One for the vexillologists out there. I know there are a few of you. How many EU member states use the colour green in their flags? And for this answer, I'm not going to include Cyprus, which uses a tiny little bit of green, but I want countries that use a substantial amount of green. So how many EU member states use the colour green in their flags, not including Cyprus? And I don't need the countries, I just need a number. How many EU member states use the colour green in their flag? Worst case scenario, take an educated guess. Would you have got that one, Farah, do you reckon? Give you a little bit longer on that one than usual because you'll be trying to work your way through the list. Interesting. I can speak the language fluently. I don't need to know what their flags look like. Yeah, indeed. Whereas I have to kind of go, oh, excuse me. I know you've got green in your flag, but any chance of a cab? And no extras either. Okay, question number 4. The modern European nation of Spain began to take shape in 1469 with the union of the Kingdom of Castile and which smaller kingdom? Today, the largest city and capital of this region is Zaragoza. Zaragoza. Sorry for anyone who's Spanish. That was appalling. So the modern European nation of Spain began to take shape in 1469 with the union of the Kingdom of Castile and which smaller kingdom? Today, the largest capital of this region is Zaragoza. Okay, question number 5. In which Dutch city was the Treaty on European Union signed in 1992? Significantly, it removed the economic from the European Economic Community and is seen by many as the founding moment of the European Union. You'd have heard this a lot in the news last year around Brexit, but what is the name of the city in which that important treaty was signed in 1992? Question number 6. Nice and straightforward. This one, it's just a straightforward true or false. True or false? Germany has a larger population than France. True or false? Germany has a larger population than France. Question number 7. Name either of the 2 European countries in which the sweet dessert wine Tokai is made. And that is spelt Tokajai. Name either of the 2 European countries in which the sweet dessert wine Tokai is made. Question number 8. This is one for laggers, I think. Which European football club play their home games at the Georgios Karaiskakis Stadium? Which European football club play their home games at the Georgios Karaiskakis Stadium? You got that one, Farad? Yeah. See, when it's a football question and you know it, I know that it's a reasonable question. If it's a football question you don't know the answer, I start to get a bit worried. Question number 9. Which European language is also known as Suomi? It is unusual, as unlike almost every other language spoken in Europe, it is not part of the Indo-European language family. That is, Suomi is another name for which European language? And that is spelt S-U-O-M-I, Suomi. God, these are good. Question number 10. Which mountain range is typically seen as the dividing line between Europe and Asia? All three of Europe's tallest peaks are within this mountain range. Question number 11. King Zog I, who ruled from 1928 to 1939, was the first and only king of which European country? King Zog I, and that is spelt Z-O-G. Question number 12. In which city in the south of Spain was the artist Pablo Picasso born in 1881? So in which city in the south of Spain was Picasso born? Lovely city. Can still visit the house in which he was born if you go there today. Question number 13. In which European city is the Basilica of the Holy Blood, which purports to house a vial filled with Christ's blood brought to the city after the Second Crusade? So in which European city would you find the Basilica of the Holy Blood? Also a lovely city. Question number 14. Of which European country is Podgorica the capital? Of which European country is Podgorica the capital? And again, just to make it a little bit easier for you to spell that, it is Podgorica. I pronounced it as Podgorica for the longest time until I thought I'm going to be saying this in front of 100 esteemed colleagues, I'd probably better look up how to pronounce it, and I've probably still done a terrible job of it. Luckily, Farid doesn't speak this language, I don't think, so he can't be gobbing off in my ear that I'm getting it wrong. How can you tell if someone speaks another language? Because when you ask them simple questions like, shall I call you at 7? They feel the need to reply in French. And final question for this round, question 15. True or false? True or false? Per year, more people pay to visit the Eiffel Tower than pay to visit Disneyland Paris. Is that true or is that false? More people per year pay to visit the Eiffel Tower than pay to visit Disneyland Paris. Is that true or is that false? And there you go, everybody that was asking. There's your bloody Disney question, and it's all you're getting. So, if you are happy that you've answered all those questions and you don't need to hear them again, get your answer sheet submitted ASAP with the submit button at the bottom of the sheet. If you've missed a couple or you want to hear them again, I'll blast through them quickly a second time for you. So listen carefully to anything you need to hear again. Question 1. Switzerland has 4 official languages: German, French, Italian, and which other? Question 2. Flowing through a number of cities, including Turin, what is the longest river in Italy? Question number 3. How many EU member states, not including Cyprus, use the colour green in their flags? Question number 4. The modern European nation of Spain began to take shape in 14 with the union of the Kingdom of Castile and which smaller kingdom? Today, the largest city and capital of this region is Zaragoza. Question 5. In which Dutch city was the Treaty on European Union signed in 1992? Question number 6. True or false? Germany has a larger population than France. Question 7. Name any one of the 2 European countries in which the sweet dessert wine Tokai is made. Question 8. Which European football club play their home games at the Georgios Karaskakis Stadium? Question number 9. Which European language is also known as Suomi? It is unusual because unlike almost every other European language, it is not part of the Indo-European family. Question 10. Which mountain range is typically seen as the dividing line between Europe and Asia? All 3 of Europe's tallest peaks can be found within this range. Question number 11. King Zog was the first and only king of which European country, ruling between 1928 and 1939? Question 12. In which city in the south of Spain was Pablo Picasso born in 1881? Question 13. In which European city is the Basilica of the Holy Blood, which purports to house a vial filled with Christ's blood, brought to the city after the Second Crusade? Question 14. Of which European country is Podgorica the capital? And question 15. True or false? Per year, more people pay to visit the Eiffel Tower than pay to visit Disneyland Paris. Now, hopefully, you've got all of those. You don't need to hear them a third time. If you do have any questions that you need repeating for a second time, let me know in the chat. Just pop the number of the question in and I'll happily repeat that again. If you don't need that, submit your answers as soon as you can to Farid and we can get those marked for you as soon and as quickly as possible. And I always say this, but the quicker you get your answers in, the less you have to listen to me talk because I can actually give you the answers, which is much less painful than the shout outs and other idle chat that I bore you with. So I'm assuming that everyone's heard those answers okay, or those questions okay, doesn't need them again. So a bit of a mixed bag that round, really. You got food and drink, you had flags, you had capitals, you had languages, all sorts of things there. So hopefully a little something for everybody, and everyone's had a moment. Yeah, I noticed that. Okay, so answers starting to come in now. Blues and Reds, Lady Providers, the newly quarantined teachers, Pear Tree, Thompson Tartans, Winfield's Redemption, all taking a little bit longer, but that's no problem there. Got a couple of minutes left. Thompson Tartans, you're asking for the football question again. That is in which European football club play their home games at the Georgios Karaiskakis Stadium? I do apologise as well. The old Surface Pro is a little bit slower, a little bit more sluggish this evening than it has been previously. So it might take me a little bit longer to kind of open windows and move across. So if I'm a little bit slower, less fluid and kind of terrifyingly professional than in previous weeks, it's really not my fault. I entirely blame the tech. And yes, I have tried turning it off and on again, and it's still slow. But hopefully it won't affect us too much. I'm hoping that it doesn't. So about 3/4 of the teams now have submitted their answers, just waiting on a few more. In fact, am I right in saying that Helen Hassan, the Blues and Reds, and Dr. Farkas didn't end up joining us? And Beaumont's let us know about his, so we're really just waiting on the Lady Providers there, I think. And then I'll be able to go through the answers to round one. And as always, I'm expecting it's always an incredibly tight table after the first round. You always impress me with that first round. Before the wine starts to kick in and so on, you tend to do so well in that first round. So I'm expecting a series of very high scores. They haven't come in on my screen yet. Yeah, come on, Shirley. Get your answer in. There we go. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Okay, so whilst those answers are being marked, I will tell you what the correct answers were. Again, a little bit slower than I'd like it to be, but okay, so question number one. Switzerland has 4 official languages. They are German, French, Italian, and Romansh. Romansh was the answer you were looking for. Question 2, the river, the longest in Italy that flows through Turin and some other cities, is the River Po. Like the Teletubby, P-O, the River Po. Question 3, tough one this. How many EU member states use the colour green in their flags, not including Cyprus? There are 6. 6. And they are, for those that are interested, the Republic of Ireland, Portugal, Hungary, Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Italy. So Ireland, Portugal, Hungary, Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Italy all use green in the flags. And in the Cypriot flag, it's the island in gold on a white background with 2 little green olive leaves, olive branches. And I didn't want to make you, didn't want to throw that one in there to confuse anybody. So the answer to that one is 6, not including Cyprus. Question 4, bit of history here. The modern European nation of Spain was made up of the union of the crowns of Castile and Aragon. Castile, you may have heard of Ferdinand and Isabella. Catherine of Aragon, she was from Aragon. Catherine of Aragon, it is the Kingdom of Aragon. Question 5, the treaty was signed in Maastricht, the Treaty of Maastricht on European Union. We heard a lot about that during Brexit. Germany does have a larger population than France. That was true. Germany's population of around 83 million versus France's 67 million, which is interesting. France is 1.5 times the size of Germany. But Germany does have the larger population. Question 7, Tokai, the sweet dessert wine. The answer that almost everyone will have given is Hungary. But for the sake of propriety, I also would have accepted Slovakia because some of the region just reaches over into Slovakia as well, and I wouldn't want to offend any Slovaks. Question 8. The key here, I think, is identifying that Georgios Karaskakis sounds very Greek, because I certainly couldn't name any other Greek football teams. It is Olympiakos. Olympiakos are the team we were looking for. Suomi is also known, or is another name for Finnish. The Finnish language can be referred to as Suomi. Question 10, the mountain range seen as the dividing line between Europe and Asia is the Caucasus. Tough one, that. Not many teams getting that one right. Was there a prevailing answer on that one, Farad, that people thought it was? Oh, interesting. Let me just double check that one. I don't want to be giving anyone any wrong information. Sometimes they sneak in. No, that is it is the Caucasus. Mount Elbrus, Europe's tallest peak, is in the Caucasus. So sorry if maybe the dividing line between Europe and Asia has thrown a few people off there, but the answer is the Caucasus. Well done to the teams that got that one. Question 11. King Zog was the first and only king of Albania. Question 12. Picasso, born in the city of Malaga in 1881. Question 13. The European city that houses the Basilica of the Holy Blood is Bruges in Belgium. And if you've never been to it, you might know it from the film. Oh, do I have to? Of course you don't have to. It's Jesus Christ's blood. Yeah, it's a tiny little kind of stained vial, kind of just like a brown muck now, but it's said to be Christ's blood. Podgorica is the capital of Montenegro. And true or false, more people per year pay to visit the Eiffel Tower than pay to visit Disneyland Paris. That is false. Roughly 8 million people per year pay to climb and visit the Eiffel Tower versus just over 12 million for Disneyland Paris. So of the two, Disneyland Paris is the more visited attraction. I suppose the slight trade-off there is you can kind of see the Eiffel Tower from anywhere in Paris. So you don't necessarily have to pay to see it. And the sheer number of people in this group asking for Disney rounds probably makes up about half of the 1 million people who visit Disneyland Paris every year. But yeah, that one was false. More people visit Disneyland Paris than climb the Eiffel Tower. Farad, are we ready for the answers? For the score, sorry. Excellent stuff. So we will go to the league table when the computer decides that it wants to let me go to the league table. There we go. Okay. Whoa. Okay, I was not expecting that. That's blown my mind. Right. So, as always, we've got fairly tight competition on the first round. So I'm going to minimize the number of teams that I mentioned. There were about 8 teams who managed to get 10 in that round, which puts them as joint 8th. I'm not going to talk about those teams. I'm going to talk about the teams that did better than that. 11 points or higher on this round. So, with 11 points each, putting them in joint 5th place, we have Let's Get Quizzical, the Wilborns, and Laggers Legends. All of those teams with 11 points out of a possible 15. With 12 points out of a possible 15, putting them in joint 3rd place, we have Monkman and Seagull and Tequila Mockingbird. Very well done to Russ, Helen, and their respective teams. In 2nd place, with a very impressive 13 out of a possible 15, we have the Fielders, Victoria, King, and family. And at the top of the table, I believe for the first time ever, and it didn't even take him a Star Wars round to get there, it is Winfield's Redemption. So that is Tom, Captain Canada Chris Crook, and friends with a very, very impressive 14 out of 15, just dropping that one mark on the Caucasus versus the Urals. Just to clear that one up, in case anyone's feeling hard done by, both the Urals and the Caucasus are sometimes referred to as dividing ranges, but the only one that can boast the tallest peaks in Europe, including Mount Elbrus, is the Caucasus. So the only answer that met all of the clues there was the Caucasus, but I think it was Russ's team that managed to get that one. But top of the tree, in first place, king of the castle, the Lord of the Dark Lord of the Sith. It's Winfield, Chris, and company. So really, really well done there. But it's anybody's game. I mean, last place is only a handful of points off first place. So it's very, very much all to play for. So you need to get your answer sheets for question 2 at the ready. If they aren't already, which I don't think they are going to appear in the chat momentarily. Yeah, they're just going to pop up in the chat. Your answer sheets for round 2, and we're going to get ready for that one. So again, answer sheets, pens and paper, brain switched on and engaged. And I'm just going to give you the rules for this round because it's ever so slightly unusual. Ever so slightly unusual. But just give me 30 seconds. Just give me 30 seconds. Alice, I've just explained about the Urals. Is a dividing range, doesn't include Europe's 3 tallest peaks, so not a correct answer that one. Caucasus, the only answer that I was interested in. Okay, so this next round, the title of this round is Who Died? Who Died? And the way it's going to work is for each question, I'm going to give you 3 clues. For each question, you are going to receive a year, a place, and a cause or method of death. All you need to do is name the famous historic figure who died in that year, in that place, and in that way. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? So in each case, I'm just going to give you a year, a place, and a method or cause of death, and you're going to tell me who famously died in that way. Please don't sort of try and be, clever and say, oh, John Smith, he might have done, who knows? We're obviously in each case looking for famous and significant historical figures whose deaths are on record as having happened at this time, in this place, and in this way. If it sounds a bit confusing now, hopefully it'll become crystal clear when I give you the first set of clues. So, round 2, who died? Question 1. 1865, Washington, D.C., shot whilst watching a play. And all you need to do is name the historical figure who died in a manner befitting that description. 1865, Washington, D.C., shot whilst watching a play. Question number 2. 1824. Missolenghi in Greece. Fever whilst planning an attack on a Turkish-held fortress. That's a really tough one, that. I'll tell you that now. That's a tough one. And I will be going through these again, so don't you worry. Question number 3. 1916, St. Petersburg, poisoned, shot, thrown into a river. I'd consider that a good night out, but... So 1916, St. Petersburg, poisoned, shot, thrown into a river. Question number 4. Who died in 453 AD, somewhere in Hungary, nosebleed on his wedding night? So 453 AD, somewhere in Hungary, nosebleed on his wedding night. Oh, blimey, already? Because it did do that last time, but not until after it had gone up. Sugar. See what you can do. Okay, question number 5. Who died in 1983? A New York hotel choking on the cap of a bottle of eye drops whilst heavily intoxicated. So 1983, a New York hotel choking on a cap of a bottle of eye drops whilst heavily intoxicated. These people really know how to die, don't they? Question number 6. Now, there are 2 valid answers to this question. I'll accept 2, and you only need to give me 1. 1793, Place de la Révolution, Paris, beheaded by guillotine. Now, if you really know your stuff on this one, you might be able to think of 2 names. Think of probably the 2 highest profile names, shall we say. So 1793, Place de la Révolution in Paris, beheaded by guillotine. Go on. That's, yeah, hopefully. I was going to say we could always attach the actual file itself to an email. Yeah. Let me know if there's a problem. Okay, question number 7. 30 BC, Alexandria, asp venom. So who died in 30 BC, Alexandria, due to asp venom? Question number 8. 1963, Dallas, Texas, shot once in the abdomen outside a police headquarters. Question number 9. 1135, Normandy, dining on a, and I quote, surfeit of lampreys. 1135, Normandy, a surfeit of lampreys. Oh, great! We got the Wuhan clan in as well. The more the merrier, I say. Okay, question number 10. Who died in 2006 in London due to polonium poisoning? 2006, London, polonium poisoning. Question number 11. 1779, Hawaii, beaten or stabbed to death by an angry mob of locals. So who died in 1779 in Hawaii by being beaten or possibly stabbed to death by an angry mob of locals? Question 12. 1593, Deptford in London, stabbed above the eye during a tavern brawl. I mean, honestly, who hasn't been stabbed above the eye in a tavern brawl? Do you want to know how I got these scars? No, Mr. Basin, I've never been in a tavern brawl in my life. Just to clarify, this happened during shaving. Question number 13. 1963, Primrose Hill in London, suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. 1963, Primrose Hill, suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. Question 14. 1945, outside the Villa del Monte, execution by firing squad. So who died in 1945 outside the Villa del Monte? Execution by firing squad. And the final question on this rather cheery round, question 15. 1882, St. Joseph, Missouri, shot in the back of the head by Robert Ford. 1882, St. Joseph, Missouri, shot in the back of the head by Robert Ford. So, as always, you can submit your answers as soon as you are ready, but I will be going through them one more time quickly. So, if you need any, again, listen closely now. Remember, it is year, place, method of death, and I'm looking for the famous person who died in a way that fits that criteria. So, question 1, 1865, Washington, D.C., shot whilst watching a play. Question 2, 1824, Missolenghi in Greece, fever whilst planning an attack on a Turkish fortress. Excuse me. Question 3, 1916, St. Petersburg, poison shot into a river. Question 4, 453 AD, somewhere in Hungary, nosebleed on his wedding night. Question 5, 1983, a New York hotel, choking on the cap of a bottle of eye drops whilst heavily intoxicated. Question 6, I'll accept one of 2 valid answers. 1793, Place de la Révolution, Paris, beheaded by guillotine. Question 7, 30 BC, Alexandria, asp venom. Question 8, Dallas, Texas, 1963, shot once in the abdomen outside a police headquarters. Question 9, 1135, Normandy, a surfeit of lampreys. Question 10, 2006, London, polonium poisoning. Question 11, 1779, Hawaii, beaten or stabbed to death by an angry mob of locals. Question 12, Deptford in London, 1593, allegedly stabbed above the eye during a tavern brawl. Question 13, 1963, Primrose Hill, London, suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. Question 14, 1945, outside the Villa del Monte, execution by firing squad. And question 15, 1882, St. Joseph, Missouri, shot in the back of the head by Robert Ford. So get those answers submitted as quickly as you can, please. Farad will get them marked. If you need to hear any questions again, let me know the question number in the chat and I will oblige. Other than that, let's get the answers in, let's get them marked, and I will let you know who died at that time in those places and in those rather exotic ways. Yeah, the thought process behind this one was, right, you know, Rollo, it's tough at the minute. It's bleak out there. Let's just make people feel better by bombarding them with gruesome death. I thought that was the right way to go about things. A little bit of escapism from the global health pandemic, and let's just tell people about death. If nothing else, people are going to come away from this thinking, well, you know what? At least I didn't get poisoned, shot, and thrown into a river. It could be worse. Or maybe not. What is the answer they've given? No, if they've given, yeah, no, that would make it an entirely different person, wouldn't it? So, yeah. King IX is just as different from King Bradley VII as King Jerry I is from King Bradley IX, isn't it? So, yeah. There are a few occasions where you'll see I've been generous and accepted kind of just surnames, or I haven't specified a regnal number. but where appropriate, I need to be specific. And obviously, I can't accept a wrong answer as a right answer. That would throw the whole quiz into disrepute. People will just be writing, you know, JRL and RBE for every answer. Okay, so answers starting to come in now. Crown Corners, thank you. FU Adol, thank you. Monkman and Siegel, newly quarantined teachers, Quiz Read, Quizlamic State. Most people getting them in now. About a dozen left to come. A team has no name, Wuhan Clan. You're now officially on the score sheet, by the way, just so you know. Winfield's Redemption, confident that they can hold their lead, are already submitted. God, who'd have thought you'd have been the team to beat tonight? Imagine putting a fiver on you. It's good. It's really good to see, actually, the variety of people toward the top of the table this week. Great to see. Great to see. Don't want to start becoming like Scottish football, do we? Yeah, behind closed doors and dominated by. You know, I thought more teams would have gone for the song title as an answer to question 3. Mm-hmm. And also, I believe they've done it for question 6 as well, or question 7. Question 7. If I was in the mind of giving bonus points, I most certainly would. Yeah, some really good answers here. Really good answers. And some teams doing extraordinarily well, which is great to see. Just a few more we're waiting on now, and then I can go through the answers and no doubt furnish you with some completely unsolicited, unwanted, and unwelcome extra information. Pear Tree, I ain't getting on no plane, fool. Just puzzling over the last few. We won't wait for Joe Wicks is all you need, because Beaumont's told us they're going to be in and out. And the other teams, I believe, not made an appearance at all. So just waiting on Jamie, Craig, Gary, and Graham, Alice, Pete, et al. And then we'll go through. I would be generous in that regard. Which team was that? We'll be very generous and fair there. No one wants to lose a point because of sweaty fingers, do they? It's a tense quiz. This, I can see why people might panic and make the odd little typo. We'll be generous. We're all about the positive marking here. We want the best for everybody. Except teams who are slow to submit their answers, such as I Ain't Got No Plane Fool and Pear Tree. Yeah, so if you can get those in really quickly now, please, guys, so we can go through the answers. Farid, could you just let me know what's happening with the next round? Cool. Awesome. Thanks, mate. And there's no danger of people having access to information they shouldn't have access to via that link, is there? Just specifically for that document. Great stuff. Do they have to download it, or should it just play? Excellent. So still waiting on 2 teams. I don't know if that's an administrative error or they're having any technical difficulty, but I Ain't Getting No Plane Fool and Pear Tree still to submit their answers. From what I'm seeing, though, we've done extremely well across the board on this. A few puzzlers that have just caught people off, but a lot of really, really good answers here. Some fantastic knowledge of death. I don't know if you should be. I don't know if you should be pleased about that or what, but you seem to know how people kick the bucket. Be boring if we did that in a few years' time, wouldn't it? 2020, COVID-19, everywhere. Wouldn't get very far. At least these people had the decency to die in usually rather interesting ways. So Pear Tree, just waiting on you. Hopefully this isn't a protest from Graham now. Didn't accept Urals, so he's just not going to submit any more answers just to show me. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to submit, guys, and then we're going to have to give the answers. Yeah, Justine, there's probably a name for that, and it's probably considered pathological. What would it be? Thanatophilia, something like that. A love or a fascination with death. Thanatos is the Greek for death, isn't it? So, answers on a postcard. Have you had any message from any of the Pear Tree team, Farad, saying they're having difficulty, or? Move on. Okay, I'll start going through the answers without them. And if they do communicate with you, Farad, we'll try and figure our way out. I wouldn't for a second think any of them would engage in any dishonest activity. So we'll see what we can figure out. So I'm going to go through the answers to round 2. Who died? Well, the first one you all know. 1865, Washington, D.C., shot whilst watching a play, specifically a play called Our American Cousin, was, of course, President Abraham Lincoln. Shot by the assassin John Wilkes Booth. Question 2 was a damn sight tougher. You don't tend to think of this person as a soldier or a warrior. It was the poet, Lord Byron. And there were rumours that he survived the Greek War of Independence and whatever, he might have been made King of Greece. Probably the only way that Lord Byron could have been any cooler. Question 3, St. Petersburg, poisoned, shot and thrown in a river. It was, of course, and I'm going to now imagine this in the voice of Helen Topping-Shaw, Rah Rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. Now, I tell you, I think it was a shame how he carried on. But yeah, couldn't kill him, poisoned him, shot him 3 times, chucked him into the river, and some say that he still managed to survive, but obviously he didn't, otherwise he wouldn't have been the answer to question 3. Question 4, 453 AD, somewhere in Hungary, nosebleed on his wedding night. That was Attila the Hun. And we have accepted Attila the Hun, the so-called scourge of God, got a bit too pissed off on his wedding night, and apparently asphyxiated, choked, drowned on his own nosebleed. Hell of a way to go. Question 5, New York Hotel, 1983, choking on the cap of a bottle of eye drops whilst intoxicated, was the playwright Tennessee Williams. Of A Streetcar Named Desire fame, amongst others. Question 6, I accepted 2 answers. The people guillotined in 1793. Marie Antoinette was the most popular answer because some of you probably a little bit unsure about which of the many Louis it was. It was King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. I would have accepted either. Some of you gave both. Happy days all round. Question 7, 30 BC, Alexandria in Egypt, asp venom. That was Cleopatra. Specifically Cleopatra the 7th, but Cleopatra was fine. When the things started going wrong for her, she poisoned herself with the venom of an asp, apparently. Question 8, 1963, Dallas, Texas. Now, I imagine a lot of people, when they heard 60s, Dallas, Texas, dead, were thinking JFK. You're somewhere there. Shot once, though, in the abdomen outside a police headquarters, and you'll notice a year too late for JFK. This was Lee Harvey Oswald, JFK's assassin, who was himself assassinated the following year by Jack Ruby. Question 9. Anyone who's read the history classic 1066 and all that will remember this one. 1135, Normandy, a surfeit of lampreys, was King Henry I of England. Henry I of England. If you don't know what a lamprey is, look them up. They're disgusting. And if you don't know what a surfeit is, look it up and join the club. Nobody really does. I think it just means a lot. Question 10, 2006 London polonium poisoning was Alexander Litvinenko with the poisoned cup of tea or pot of tea. 1779, beaten by the locals in Hawaii, was, of course, the explorer Captain Cook. Have also accepted James Cook and Captain Cool, who I presume was not referring to Russ Parker, but was in fact a slight typo, but we've given you the benefit of the doubt there. Question 12, stabbed above the eye in a tavern brawl in 1593 was the playwright Christopher Marlowe, or Kit Marlowe. Question 13, if I'd said stuck her head in an oven, some of you might have got this one that didn't. This was the poet Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath poisoned herself through carbon monoxide in 1963. Question 14, 1945, outside the Villa del Monte by firing squad. That was the Italian dictator Mussolini, Benito Mussolini, and there's a little black cross on the brickwork that marks the site to this day. And finally, 1882, St. Joseph, Missouri, shot in the back of the head by Robert Ford. That was the outlaw Jesse James. And some of you might have known that from the film starring Brad Pitt and Casey Affleck, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, which is why I threw in the name of the killer there to help you. But some really, really impressive scores on what I think was a pretty tough round. So if we pan over to the scores on the doors, well, blow me down with the proverbial feather. You wouldn't believe it. So I'll start with teams who have 20 points or more. 20 points or more. In 8th place with 20 points, we have the Latvians, Quislamic State, and the Thompson Tartans, all on an impressive 20 out of 30. 7th place with 22 points, we have a team has no name. 23 points, putting them in 6th place, the indomitable Quiz Reed. In joint 3rd place, we have a number of teams on 24 points. We have the Wilborns, Laggers Legends, and the Fielders, all doing really well on 24 points. In 2nd place on 27 points is Tequila Mockingbird, which means that still in 1st place on 29 out of 30, leading the way, Winfield's Redemption. Very, very impressive. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said the following year. I meant the following week, 1963 for Kennedy and Oswald. So I don't know how I got that one muddled up. Just misspoke in the excitement of it all. But a couple of teams there getting a clean sweep on that round. Tequila Mockingbird and Winfield's Redemption both managing a full house. But yeah, Winfield's Redemption just a couple of points ahead. But still, there are fewer than 10 points between the team in 1st place and the team in 12th place. So it is very much all to play for as we go into round 3. Farah, did we get an answer sheet from Pear Tree in the end? And that's all sorted on there. Excellent. Alice, we're all sorted there. Don't know why it was, maybe, don't know if it was technical problems at your end or whatever, but we've sorted that and we haven't, we've been kind. We haven't docked any points from you, don't worry. Okay, so round 3 is traditionally where we take a little bit of a sort of mini break. I give you a question sheet and, well, sorry, an answer sheet and some questions, and you take 10 to 15 minutes to go away, have a play with them, figure out what's going on, give me the answers, and then we'll come back and give you the answers and the scores. For the last few weeks, it's been a picture round. I've sent you out an answer sheet with a number of pictures, and you've simply filled it in. Those of you that have been here since the very start will remember that in week 1, we did a music round, a music intros round. We're going to go back to that. So round 3 this week is a music intros round. We had to have a little bit of a shuffle as we were going through because YouTube copyright was being very, very on it. So Farid has had a little bit of done a little bit of his usual technical wizardry, and I believe, Farid, correct me if I'm wrong, you have put together a Google Drive or a Google video file that you're going to send to everybody. They're going to be able to listen to that at their leisure, and they're going to have an answer sheet attached. They can also put the answers in. Is that right? Okay, so if you can make that appear now, that'll be fantastic. There we go. Great stuff. Okay, so you will see there a link to a Google Drive file. Everybody should be able to open that. You might need to sign into Google if you haven't already, which hopefully won't prove any kind of a problem. You don't need to sign in. Okay, even better. Farid's thought about that as always. So all you need to do is open up that file. You'll get a video file that has the NSB COVID quiz logo. Yes, we do have a logo. It will play in succession. If you just hit play and let it play, it will play 15 intros to well-known songs. They are between about 10, 20 seconds each. You've also got in there a link to an answer sheet, which has your standard questions 1 through to 15. All you need to do is listen to the video, listen out for the songs. It will also have on the screen question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, and so on. Listen to it. You can rewind it. You can play it again. You can absolutely use it at your leisure. Listen to it as many times as you need to. And all you need to do in the answer sheet is give me the name of the artist, not the song, the artist. Farid, Ross is saying, should it start with question 13? It should just start with question 1 if you click play, Russ. That's probably just for whatever reason, that's where the video started. So yeah, it's just the thumbnail. So if you click play, it should start from the beginning. It should be really, really clear when the tracks change. There's a gap, there's a break, there's a pause, the number change on the screen. It should be super easy. I think I'm making it sound complicated when it actually should be ridiculously easy. Play the file, listen to the songs, enjoy the songs, sing along if you want to. Certainly bob your head and tap your feet. But the key thing is you need to put in the name of the artist. And I'll say it one more time because someone's always going to ask, do you need the name of the song? The artist, be it the solo artist or the band, into your answer sheet. As soon as you are happy and confident, you can submit that answer sheet. I'm going to go in a minute and give you 10, 15 minutes to do it. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for me to say submit it. Submit it when you're ready. When I'm back, then I'll be asking for those last minute submissions and we can start to go through the answers. I'm going to say, because it's a little bit longer, and you're going to have to just check that all the text working, rather than 10, I'm going to say 15 minutes. I'm going to give you 15 minutes to listen again, and get your answer sheets filled out and submitted to us, which means that at 20:57, I'm going to be back and I'm going to be asking for your answer sheets. In the meanwhile, Farid's still going to be on the other end of the line. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and he will hopefully do a little bit of troubleshooting for you. But fingers crossed, the little bit of last minute adaptation won't cause any dramas for us, okay? So 15 minutes, music round, intros to songs, name of the artist, answer sheet for question 3. Off you go. Have fun. Hello again, everybody. I hope that was an enjoyable playlist. And for those of you that are still listening, you're enjoying it and doing all right. We've got another couple of minutes left before I start asking for for answer sheets in, but the vast majority of teams are starting to submit them now. No, Ali, I was just muted temporarily whilst I chatted tech with Farid and discussed a few of the answers. But hopefully you can hear me again now. But yeah, got to be really careful with muting this microphone. The amount of teams I slag off, I've got to be really careful. The things I've been saying about the Latvians, you wouldn't believe. So yeah, about just under half of the teams have submitted nice and early, which is great. If you haven't submitted yet, I won't be grumpy about submissions until about 9 o'clock. But the sooner, of course, we are able to get them in, the better. This, guys, if I didn't know better, I would be thinking you actually wanted to. But you should be able to hear me nice and clearly now. Okay, so that is now 20:57, just gone, which is when I said I'd be back. So if you can start getting answers in now, that would be really, really helpful. Because as I always say, the quicker we can get them in, the quicker we can get them up, the quicker we can move on to answers and scores, etc. And I hope, if nothing else, you were all able to enjoy some of that music. And a few of them were, the classic, I know the song, but who sang it? Or you were just waiting for that one more bar to really know it, and then it cut out. Hopefully that's the experience you've had. And a few of them you've gone, really? Why on earth did he put that on there? That's a terrible song. He's got terrible taste. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a few names. Agatha Christie, Financing Our Chances, Let's Get Quizzical. You've just submitted. You beat me to it. Pear Tree, Islamic State. John says he's now to bow out, which is absolutely fine. So we're waiting on Agatha Christie, Financing Our Chances, Pear Tree, Social Distancing, and that seems to be it. So just a few teams now. So if you can get those in nice and sharpish, I can go through the answers for you. Oh wow, sure enough. Yeah, doesn't need to listen when he's that good. It's not like he's got anything wrong, is it? Absolutely smashed him. Good work, Beaumont. Beaumont finds the quiz too easy generally, so he's insisted on giving us the artist and the song, and has pretty much nailed every single one of them. So well done, Phil. That looks to be almost everybody now. Pear Tree, have you submitted your answers for us? We seem to be having a little bit of difficulty getting your answers through. We did get it eventually in the last round, but it was very delayed. So Alice or Ryan or Graham, could you just let us know in the chat whether you have submitted your answers and whether it's being you're not faxing your answers, are you? Graham, we have got slightly more advanced technology now. So the fax machine and the gramophone, you probably don't need them for this round. But yeah, if you could just let us know whether you've got those or whether you've sent those through, we can start going through them like we did with the last one. Because we did get your last answer sheet, but it just took a little bit longer than we would have expected. Did it come through in the normal place last time, Farad? Shall we give them shall we assume that the same has happened and go through the answers now? Okay, because the chat came through late, didn't it? Okay, just gonna Petri, I'm just gonna test something. I am saying this currently at 21:02. So if you hear that considerably later, just let us know, because it might be that maybe you've refreshed the page or you're running behind on the stream. We're going to work on the assumption that everything is okay, and we're going to go through the answers, and your answer sheet will hopefully come in as it did last time. But for everybody else, so that we're not too far behind, I'm going to move on to the answers for round 3, the music round. Okay? Happy with that, Farid? As long as you're happy, I'm happy. Okay, so the answers to round 3 on music. The first track you heard was the intro to Up the Junction by Squeeze. Up the Junction by Squeeze. So the answer we're looking for was Squeeze. Remember, Phil, we only needed the artist. The second answer, that was, of course, The Killers with Bones, the second track from their second album. Question 3, that was So Sick by Neo. Question 4 was, of course, AC/DC with Thunderstruck. Question 5, a contender for the greatest lyrics of all time. That was Friday by Rebecca Black. Yeah, the song that calmly and coolly talks you through the days of the week. Yeah, that was Rebecca Black with Friday. Question 6. Anyone who played as much Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as I did as a kid will know this one well. That was the Ramones with Blitzkrieg Bop. I ummed and ahed about whether letting you have the Hey Ho Let's Go in that, and I think I decided against it in the end, but most of you still identifying that one. Question 7 was, of course, Simon and Garfunkel with Mrs. Robinson, which was answered correctly by every single team. Well done. Question 8, one for the TikTokers amongst you. That was The Weeknd with Blinding Lights. I think we've been charitable and accepted The Weeknd with 3 E's, or 4 E's, I guess. But if you're not in the know, it's The Weeknd. There's no E at the end. Why? I don't know. But yeah, that was The Weeknd. Question 9, the harmonica, the little harmonica riff. That was Cash Machine by Hard-Fi, the first single from their wonderful album, Stars of CCTV. Question 10, another really well-known one. That was the Beach Boys with God Only Knows. Question 11, quite a fitting song if you walk down the high street and the Welly Road at the moment. That was the Specials with Ghost Town. Question 12 was the delightful Nelly Furtado with All Good Things Come to an End. Question 13, if you haven't figured out by now, they're probably going to feature in every music round I ever write, because they are the greatest pop group of all time. That was the sensational, the superlative Girls Aloud with Jump. One of the only problems with Girls Aloud in intro rounds is almost all of their songs just start straight away. It's no nonsense. It's straight into lyrical genius. So finding one that actually has an intro can be quite tough, but that was Girls Aloud. Question 14, probably one of the best intros of all time and probably one of the best songs of all time. That was the Dire Straits with the Sultans of Swing. And question 15, another one that was smashed out of the park by every single team. That was, of course, ABBA with Voulez-Vous. So some really, really good scores on that round, and a few questions that were devoured by every single team. Farad, are we ready for scores on the doors? Have we got Pear Tree's answer in? Is that coming all right in the end? Fantastic. So they might just be a little bit behind, but hopefully it won't cause too many dramas. So, bloody talk voulez-vous. Ooh la la. Look at this. Okay, so, this is a hell of a leaderboard. It really is. So, I'm going to start with teams that got 32 and above, or who are on 32 and above, should I say. So, in what makes them 9th place with a score of 32 out of a possible 45, we have Eld Hewardold, Johnny, John, Claire, and Rebecca. Not as high as you sometimes are, guys, but nice to see you now breaking into the top flight. Joint 7th place with 33 points each. We have the Thompson Tartans and Quiz Reed. A little bit off their best tonight, but still doing really, really well. In joint 5th place with an impressive 35 points each, we have the Latvians and A Team Has No Name. Well done to them. The Latvians there winning that round. So well done, Ali and family there getting a full 15 on that. You have exceptional music taste. Well done. In 4th place, still going strong, are the Fielders, Victoria King and family. In 3rd place with 38 points is the Wilborns. In 2nd place with 41 points, Tequila Mockingbirds, who have been there or thereabouts all night. And still in 1st place, absolutely loving the Rolleston mixtape, is Winfield's Redemption. Chris Crook, disappointed that there was no Shania Twain or Avril Lavigne this time, but Winner's able to clean up with his knowledge of the specials, Hard-Fi, and Girls Aloud. So really, really good scores all around there. Lots of 14s, a few 13s, and that one shining 15 from the Clintons means that we go into the final round with only 5 points separating 1st and 3rd, and a very, very tight field. I think that still Winfield's Redemption could be toppled. I think that the podium is very much open. Quiz Reed could still have a surge. I don't think the newly quarantined teachers are likely to be holding their title there, a little bit off the pace, down on 27 points, but it would be foolish to be complacent at this stage. Now, the last round is, as has become customary by now, a connections round. The answer sheet to round 4 has just appeared in the chat, so get that open. More than any other round, I would highly recommend that you have a pen and paper to hand on this one, because you might end up working back to questions if you manage to figure out the connection, trying to slot in answers that fit the pattern. For anyone who needs reminding, who's forgotten, who doesn't listen in the first place, or who is new, I'll give you a little idea of how this works. There are 15 questions, and they are in 3 sets of 5. Each set of 5 is 4 questions with an answer. And the 5th question in each set is what links the answers to the previous 4 questions. So if the answers to questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 were Lennon, Starr, McCartney, and Harrison, you would say for question 5, the Beatles, or members of the Beatles, or artists in the Beatles, yeah? There will only ever be one connection that I accept, although we're generally going to be pretty flexible with how you phrase that. So as I say, with the previous one, members of the Beatles, the Fab Four, we'd have accepted anything that's very much getting the point. But ultimately, it is at my discretion as to whether I think you've got the connection right. Rather than going 1 to 15, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, give them to you again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As always, submit as soon as you are ready. Don't wait for me to say anything. Don't wait for me to go through them a second time. When you are ready and confident, you get your answers in, because the quicker you get them in, the quicker I shut up. Everyone's a winner. So, with everything still to play for, can anybody dethrone Winfield and his Padawans from the top spot they've held all night? Let us see. So, question number 1 in the final round of tonight's quiz, connections. Get those answer sheets open. Question 1 is coming at you like Cleopatra right about now. So, question 1. The film Apocalypse Now was based on which novel by Joseph Conrad? Time for a couple more gold bears, I think. The tension's getting a bit much. Question 2. Which song of 2012 includes the lyrics, "You're a shooting star, I see, a vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive"? Question number 3. The Ned, the Albright, and the East India are all types of what in London? So the Ned, the Albright, and the East India are all types of what? It's awesome, to be fair. Have you been? It's mighty impressive. Question 4. Who voiced the genocidal robot Ultron in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron, and also played the mysterious Robert California in the US version of The Office? And question 5 is, of course, what connects the answers to questions 1, 2, 3, and 4? And I will give you those questions one more time. So, question 1. The film Apocalypse Now was based on which novel by Joseph Conrad? Question 2. Which song of 2012 includes the lyrics, "You're a shooting star, I see, a vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive"? Question 3. The Ned, the Albright, and the East India are all types of what in London? And question 4. Who voiced the genocidal robot Ultron in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron and played the mysterious Robert California in the US version of The Office? And question number 5. What links the answers to questions 1, 2, 3, and 4? Okay, second set of connected answers. Question number 6. Which glam rock band are best known for their song Tiger Feet? Question number 7. Who became, in 1961, the first American in space? Question number 8. Who hosted Spring Watch alongside Bill Oddie and Simon King until being replaced in 2012? And question number 9, what was the name of the record label set up by the Beatles in 1968? And question 10 is, of course, what connects the answers to question 6, 7, 8, and 9? And I'll give you those one more time. Question 6, what glam rock band are best known for their song Tiger Feet? Question 7, who became in 1961 the first American in space? Question number 8, who hosted Springwatch alongside Bill Oddie and Simon King until being replaced in 2012? And question 9, what was the name of the record label set up by the Beatles in 1968? And question 10, what connects the answers to question 6, 7, 8, and 9? And moving into the final chapter, the coda, the epilogue of tonight's quiz, with question number 11. Which artist, born in Italy to American parents, scandalized the Paris Salon in 1880 with his portrait of Madame X? So looking for the artist there who painted a portrait of Madame X. Question 12. Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, is part of which constellation? Question number 13. Which Noel Coward play features a divorced couple who discover that whilst honeymooning with their new spouses, they are staying in adjacent hotel rooms? It was very close to being censored, as 1930s audiences found it rather risque. And question number 14, what name is given to the seeds of corn, wheat, maize, and barley, as well as in computing the central part of an operating system? I will have a little quick look. Yeah, the intros are distinct enough, I think. I'll address that in a minute, but and sorry, slightly distracted there. Question 15 is, of course, what links the answers to questions 11, 12, 13, and 14? And I'll give you those one more time. So question 11, which artist born in Italy to American parents scandalized the Paris Salon in 1880 with his portrait of Madame X? Question 12, Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, is part of which constellation? Question 13, which Noel Coward play features a divorced couple who discover whilst honeymooning with their new spouses that they are staying in adjacent hotel rooms? It was almost censored as 1930s audiences found it rather risque. And question 14, what name is given to the seeds of corn, wheat, maize, and barley, as well as, in computing, the central part of an operating system? And question 15 is, of course, what links the answers to the previous 4 questions? And whilst I'm asking silly questions about corn and operating systems, Justine is offering the real questions in the chat there. Blue or red wagon wheels? The really pressing questions there. Okay, so get your answers in now as quickly as you can. I'm going to start asking a little bit more firmly in 2 or 3 minutes time, but you'll want to work through these. You'll want to fill any blanks with logical answers. Take your time, maximize your score, and I'm going to ask for answers in 3 minutes time at 25 past. But no, because hang on, let me just mute that a sec. Sorry, just had a little answer query there from Farad, and I just muted the microphone, so there's nothing wrong on your end. As always, we'll be as generous as possible, and we'll go with the spirit of the answer rather than purely the letter of it. But particularly when it comes to the connection, there is really only one connection that I will accept, although I will accept various different ways of getting there. Some teams now starting to submit their answers, which is superb and incredibly helpful. The rest of you, a couple more minutes, and then I expect to start seeing answers flooding in so we can see whether Winfield's redemption has been truly completed with a staggering, unprecedented, unexpected, and quite frankly, shocking victory for everybody's favorite science teaching Viking and co. But the answers that are coming in are looking good so far, and I'm excited to see do in the final reckoning. Yeah, I've seen that. It's great stuff. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, give that. Callum, give me one moment. The question about Sirius being in which constellation, that was question number 12. And Russ, give me one moment. Just saw that. Question 4, Russ. Who voiced the genocidal robot Ultron in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron and played the mysterious California in the US version of The Office? Halfway there now with answers. Let's get them in as quickly as we can, please. Now, my only concern with that is not the link as such, is that Pam, question 8. Question 8. Who hosted Spring Watch alongside Bill Oddie and Simon King until being replaced in 2012? So just waiting on a few teams now. Let's get quizzical, just waiting on you. Financing Our Chances, Monkman and Siegel, Social Quistancing, and then I think we are good to go. Financing Our Chances are now in. Thank you. Let's get quizzical. Thank you, Emily. Russ, just waiting on you now with Monkman and Siegel. And we're good. Fantastic. So Farron will take care of the important business of the scores. I will satiate your curiosity with the answers. So, question number 1. The film Apocalypse Now was based on the novel Heart of Darkness. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. All about Colonel General Kurtz in the Congo. Question 2. You're a shooting star, I see. A vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive. Sorry, I got lost in the beauty of it all. That is, of course, Diamonds. Diamonds by Rihanna. And we've been generous there. Shine bright like a diamond or anything along those lines. We've given it. But Diamonds by Rihanna. Question 3. The Ned, the Albright, and the East India are all private members clubs. Private members clubs. And we've again been generous. Members club, private clubs. I think we've even accepted gentlemen's clubs. Although I've told you many times this is a family quiz. Yeah, so they are all clubs in London. And question 4, the genocidal robots, Ultron and Robert California in The Office, were voiced and played by, respectively, the wonderful James Spader. James Spader. Now, not too tricky a connection, actually. You've dispatched this one rather easily. But if I tell you that we have Heart of Darkness, Diamonds by Rihanna, Private Members Clubs, and James Spader, you will see that we have the 4 suits in a deck of playing cards. And anything along the lines of cards or card suits we have accepted. And most teams managing to find that one. Question number 6, easily dispatched by every single team. The glam rock band who are known for Tiger Feet is Mud. Mud. I thought of that question to myself, and I thought, you know what, Joe, that's neat. That's neat, that question. Question 7. The first American in space was, of course, Alan Shepard. And the Springwatch host who was replaced in 2012 was Kate Humble. Probably see where we're going now if you haven't got this one already. The Beatles record label was Apple Records. Apple Records. Which means that the connection, Mud, Shepherd, Humble, and Apple, was types of pie. Types or varieties of pie. Apple pie, humble pie, shepherd's pie, and mud pie. Well done to the teams that got that one. And the final set, question 11, the artist, the American artist who scandalized the Paris Salon in 1880 with the portrait of Madame X was John Singer Sargent. Question 12, the brightest star in the night sky, Sirius, is part of Canis Major. Canis Major. Probably would have accepted the big dog, but it wouldn't have helped you too much with the connection, I don't think. Canis Major. Question 13, the Noel Coward play, the sort of comedy of manners in which the divorced couple find themselves in adjacent hotel rooms, is the wonderful Private Lives. And the seeds of corn, wheat, maize, barley, and in computing the central part of an operating system, they are all kernels. Kernels, K-E-R-N-E-L. Which means that the connection for that set is sergeant, major, private, and colonel, which are all, of course, ranks in the military or specifically the army. So they are all military ranks. And again, most teams managing to suss out my connections. I haven't managed to reach the fiendish highs of my US state capitals for a few weeks, and you've made my connections look positively easy to figure out. So well done to all of you for that. Ground control to Major Tom, or I suppose Major Tom to ground control is more accurate. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. No. I can't believe it. I can't speak. Oh wow, this is incredible. Okay, so sorry, my excitement's getting the better of me here. I am going to give you. Sorry, I'm going to give you the top 10. In 10th place, with a very respectable 43 points, especially considering they let us know they were going to be in and out and a little bit distracted tonight. Give it up for Phil Beaumont and family. Joe Wicks is all you need. 43 points, 10th place. Well done to Phil. In 9th place with 45 points, a decent effort from Eldhugh Waddolds, ending on 45 points. In joint 6th place, 3 teams with 48 out of a possible 60, we have the Thompson Tartans, the Latvians, and Quiz Reed. In 5th place with 50 points, a team has no name. Well done, Hannah. In 4th place with 51 points, the Fielders, the King family. Very well done. In 3rd place with 53 points is the Wilborns. And in joint 1st place with 56 points, we have Tequila Mockingbird and Winfield's Redemption. That final round, Winfield's Redemption dropping 2 points and Tequila Mockingbird picking up a full house of 15, levels the scores on 56 points each. Now, we currently don't have a tie-break mechanism in place, but it feels wrong to leave this in a tied situation. So, from the ether of my mind, I will pluck a tie-break question. Now, generally, and you're all quizzers, and I know you're happy to share, Helen, but Winners isn't. I tell you, I know him. He's not happy to share. Joint winner will not do for him. So tie-break questions, we will usually go with the closest to the correct answer wins the tie-break. Okay? So I'm going to give you a question that has an answer that is going to be somewhere. And the team who give the closest answer to that value will win. Either way, whether it's higher or lower, they're going to win. I'm going to ask for these answers to be submitted to Farid via the NSB Outlook email platform. Okay? You don't need to say hello, Farid, or anything like that. Just give me a number. Okay? Just give me a number. And I'm going to fall back on something that came up earlier in the quiz for this. I want to know how high in feet is the Eiffel Tower? How high in feet is the Eiffel Tower? Now, I'm going to Google this. You're not. When you've got an answer, email it to Farad. In feet, how high is the Eiffel Tower? And the closest team will win. Or how tall is probably more accurate. How tall in feet? Fun fact, if you type into Google how tall in feet is, the first thing that comes up is Tyson Fury. And I believe he is 2.5 feet shorter than the Eiffel Tower. Helen, can you email the answer to Farad, please? Can you email the answer to Farad? This is from base to tip. How high is the Eiffel Tower from base to tip? Yeah, whilst we're waiting for the our finalists, our last men and women standing to submit their answers, I'll just do our little plug for the £1. Now, those that have done this quiz for a while will know that we originally set this up to keep people connected during this difficult time, this unprecedented and fluid situation, but also perhaps to raise a little bit of money for charity. If you would be so kind as to pay £1 per week per player into a grand pot, it'll mean that Farad and I will be able to help the Abington Public House get back to its feet when lockdown is over with a spectacular. We will put the money, and the money will all go toward the NSB Charity Week pot. And we were thinking if we could raise just a little bit of cash, that would be great. Farad, I presume the information was in the email again this week, as it always is. Yeah. So Farad says if you do want to put some money into the pot and you haven't already, just send him an email and he'll send you the means and ways in which to do that. So we are currently waiting on the height of the Eiffel Tower from tip to feet, or sorry, from base to tip in feet from To Kill a Mockingbird and Winfield's Redemption. And they've not sent you an answer yet via your official NSB Outlook. Do I have to call Tom Winfield in front of everybody? Maybe they won't. Maybe they thought, no, surely the teams who were in and about. Making a mockery of my quiz. So I've just texted him. And I didn't say answer please, I'll tell you that much. Tom, what are you doing? Are you trying to count? You can't count on your fingers. Tom's response, leave me be. This stands between me and redemption. How are you figuring this out? Are you making the bloody thing out of Lego? Come on. So you've got an answer from To Kill a Mockingbird? Winners, you're upsetting the people. Can you tell me have you made a note of their answer? Mm-hmm. Okay, winners is in. Winners is in. Winners is in. Okay. Right. Give me the two answers again, just so I can quickly calculate. Got it. Okay. Right. So Both answers were very much close to the mark. Neither of them were embarrassing. But if I were to tell you that the Eiffel Tower stands at 324 meters, not that anyone does metric, which equates to 1,063 feet from base to tip. That means that the closest answer by only 20 or 30 feet, it was very, very close, was Tequila Mockingbirds. So the winners of tonight's quiz by a gnat's crotchet, identifying the height of the Eiffel Tower in feet closer than Winfield's Redemption, the winning team tonight is Tequila Mockingbirds. Have to wait a little bit longer for that redemption, Winfield. That's embarrassing, mate. No, honestly, both teams, fantastic effort. Really great late surge from Tequila Mockingbird to catch Winfield's Redemption, who were early leaders. Tom has just sent me a message saying, thanks for the quiz, mate. Really enjoyed it. Don't care about the results. that's not what he said. Right, guys, that was great fun, as always. Thank you for playing. Thank you for tuning in. As always, about this time of night, my ear starts to get sore with Farid going on in French and Spanish and whatever in my ear. You were wonderful. The scores were fantastic. We have a new winner, Tequila Mockingbird. They've been up and about for the last few weeks, always threatening, always looking strong, and tonight was their night. Unlucky Tom, Chris, et al. Well done to Helen and family. And thank you, everybody else, for taking part. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. Stay at home. And do some bloody work. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Take care. You know what? I'm glad the stream's ended because I'm really glad Tom didn't win.